Quick question. How do you know that you're a man? How do you know that your father's a man? How do women know that the men that they're dating are actually men? Is it when you turn 18, or when you drive your first car, or when you have sex for the first time, or when you get paid for working your first job? In the United States, there's no clear transition period from when a boy transitions into a man. I believe that the three fundamental aspects all men share are responsibility, character, and dominance. This is Fidelis. Along the Sepik River in Papua New Guinea, the men in his tribe perform a ceremony in which their skin is cut hundreds of times to mimic crocodile scale skin. It's a rite of passage into manhood. A rite of passage is a ceremony or an event marking an important stage in someone's life. Fidelis is one of the many men who spent 6 weeks locked in a hut they call the spirit house. They spend this time preparing for the ordeal. Their ages range from 11 years old to over 30. They choose to do this because in their culture, no one can have full status as a man until they go through with the ceremony. The Sepiks believe that the ceremony will endow them with the strength of the crocodile, one of the fiercest and deadliest animals they know of. This process is quite interesting. You have males from 11 years old all the way to over 30 who are willing to get cut dozens, even hundreds of times in order to be considered a man or in order to transition into manhood. They start the morning of by standing in freezing cold water for hours to prepare the skin for the cutting. Essentially, they're shocking their bodies and also numbing them from the pain. And after that, they're held down by a guide or a person who's been helping them prepare, as the tribal cutters grab razors and cut their skin for hours with the risk of them bleeding to death. The Sepiks believe that their blood is given to them by their mother, and it's only by draining themselves of their mother's blood that they can fully transition into manhood. They then spend weeks packed in the spirit house treating their wounds with smoke, clay, and tree oil. And finally, the initiates are paraded outside, presented as survivors and true men ready to assume their new roles as leaders. When you think of a man, your mind might immediately go to big or strong or intimidating or overwhelming. To my understanding, dominance at scale is crucial for men. A man must have physical, emotional, and material dominance, and the more they have of it, the better that they are prepared for the world. Fidelis and the others were possibly terrified, but because they dominated their minds and their emotions, and they completely understood that this was the only way to be seen as a man in their society, they dealt with it. They took it for what it was and they just embraced it. They set aside how they felt in order to become men. And this isn't necessarily to say to suppress your emotions or to not feel anything. Essentially, everything that's inside you, you let it go and you see how big or how crazy the monster is, and then you make little incisions or like little plans where you can, take control of everything. So essentially, you have to be able to grasp, how large is the monster that I have or that I'm dealing with, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever the case may be. But you have to see it for what it is completely, and like its naked and raw self, and then you have to be able to control it afterward. Your value as a man has a large part to do with your character. So I'm sure you know someone or have heard of someone who's used an example in conversation of a person who lies too much, or they cheat, or they may steal. They never talk about how great these people are. They criticize the negative aspects of their character, no matter how they may have gotten there or if those are their true intentions. None of that actually matters because people don't tend to dig with a broken shovel. The surface layer of yourself, what you're comfortable to show to other people, that's the only thing that you're really going to be judged on, because people don't tend to look past that. True character means that your word is your bond. You have certain things in your life that are non-negotiable, certain things that you don't change, that you don't bend, or that you don't fold for anyone. You're not the type of person who's loose on their morals, or who switches their mind, too quickly, or who doesn't really think about things, or who gets swayed by spite or emotions, or, relating to the other point. It's more of having a set person who you are, or having an idea of what you want to be, and then building on top of that, and then adding new information to that and adjusting as you go. Yeah, my camera died. The final trait that all men have is responsibility and accountability on top of that. Responsibility is feeding and protecting your family no matter what's going on in your life, no matter if you feel good or if you feel bad. It's doing what you have to do for the simple fact of putting yourself in a position that you can't really walk out of. It's taking charge of situations when people panic. It's boosting morale when everyone might be down or people might be sad. It's essentially being a leader. Men must be accountable for their actions and responsible for the outcome, even if it's not something that they desired. As men, like, we all pay our dues one way or another. I think we're transitioning to a place where people are just, they're loose on their morals. Their men specifically aren't dominating their minds, their body, their soul. They don't have any character or value. They're able to flip on a dime. Their word means nothing. Their actions are not congruent with, how they say that they want to live their lives. And then, responsibility isn't something that they're too fond of either. It's always, running away from something or not trying to accept something, even though that they fully put themselves in, in certain situations. And now a quick message from our sponsors. No, but seriously, this intermission is because I make these videos because I want to create a conversation among people. They do take some time to film, shoot, edit, and post-production and everything like that, so it can be digestible to as many people as possible while still having my, little pizzazz to it. So I would really appreciate it if you guys could, either go through the channel, watch some of the other videos, like, share, comment, subscribe, really anything that'll help out the algorithm so more and more people can, be part of the conversation, and so that we can start building something. Definitely over the last few years, I've learned how to become an actual man. I used to think I was a man because I was, I had a car, I was driving, I was doing things, I was, going places, I was speaking to certain people, but I still had a lot of boyish tendencies. And I'd be lying to say that I'm not still growing at the moment, but, I'm proud to call myself a man, and I'm proud to see that I'm still progressing and I'm still growing up, and I'm taking on more accountability and more responsibility as the days progress. And, overall, it's a beautiful experience. There's people like Fidelis in the world, and also different tribes and different cultures in Asia and Africa and, South America and other places in the world where they go through really strenuous and like physical processes to actually become a man. So the least that you can do is, check yourself on certain things, on responsibility, on dominance, on character. These are things that you can actively do every day. Be happy and be lucky that you're also not in that position. But the world is in desperate need of strong men right now, and the more that you decide to act like a boy and stay in your childish ways, we're only going downhill as a society. So you have to do all the things in order to grow and to build and to be everything and anything that we want and can and will be. I'll see you guys next Sunday, and